Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 98 of the Sofamanager Scottish Football Podcast. And it's that time of season. It is the playoff party season, so to speak. Woohoo! Indeed, it's a very exciting time for the SPFL in Scottish football. So we'll be talking all about the playoffs across the Premiership, Championship, League 1, and especially League 2. Some interest there. We'll be covering the sort of structure, the teams who we think will progress, who deserves to progress maybe, and some of the interesting drama that goes on in between. We also have a new feature this week. I haven't discussed this with John yet, I've kept it a secret, but I'm going to call this EuKnow or EuKnow.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think we might evolve the name as the weeks go on. It does have the potential to go badly wrong, but we'll see. And after that, we are hitting up some nostalgia with some football trading cards. So remembering back to when you'd head down local newsagent or something like that, maybe.
Stickers of yore.
Stickers of yore, exactly. So we'll be discussing that. Anyway, joining myself, Playoff Party Paul, is the man who advertised himself this evening as the local Avon salesman.
No, thanks for that.
Again, that's a throwback to anyone that remembers that. It is John, our businessman John. How are you, John?
Not too bad, Paul, and yourself?
I'm good. I could have also called you the £200 man tonight, but not for that reason.
No.
Why could I have called you the £200 man?
I've taken the tags off this t-shirt for the Sayak top, and I'm conflicted. I'm in a lot of pain right now.
This is definitely one to tune into the YouTube episode for, to see this wonderful...
It looks good, to be fair.
Yes.
Maybe not on me, maybe on someone a bit more athletic.
No,
but
I think you suit it well. It's like a Bob Marley inspired...
It's all kind of Bob Marley ones. Three Little Birds. Got a throwback shirt from...
Culture.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, perfect. Let's get straight on with things, shall we? Right. Topic 1. The playoffs are back.
Yeah, we're not involved.
You're not involved. Aberdeen are not yet involved. We can't. Can you mathematically rule that out yet? I don't know.
I think you're safe. I think you're okay.
I think the win at the weekend helped. So the first thing I thought I'd ask you is, what do you think of the structure of the playoffs? We've now had them in the same sort of form for quite a while.
We have, yep.
Now, I know for a long time we did not like the format of the Premiership playoff because it was always a long haul, although I think Falkirk were about the only ones not to take advantage of it, considering others did overcome it in the past. And then the slightly different formats for League 1, the Championship, and then League 2, especially this year. So, format's matured. What do you make of it so far?
Yeah, we're like a few years now of experiencing it. The Premiership, Championship one, still a bit of a sticking point. I don't think that's 100% right. I understand the bias towards the Premiership team, but for me it still rankles. But it does produce a lot of drama. I mean, if you are that 11th Premiership team and you do lose to the Championship team, it looks horrendously bad on you. And I suppose it makes it all the sweeter for the Championship team as well, if you're the successful one. If you're looking at Championship League 1, League 2, perfect. It's exactly how it should be.
See, I was looking at it today, and I do feel that the advantage of finishing second and then playing third is a little bit nippy. I feel like second, fourth, and then league above playing third might be a more interesting. But I mean, I suppose it's going to be six and one, half a dozen the other. The Premiership one, again, I was thinking about today, and it did remind me a little bit of, when you play like Street Fighter or something like that. You play the first 2 rounds, then you get to the next contender, and then you beat them, and then you get to the next contender, and that's quite exciting. But it is also a big journey. It's a tiring journey to play. I think they are playing Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Friday.
Oh, blimey! So it's Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday again, maybe even. And then it'll be Wednesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Sunday.
So it's a pretty... You've played, by the time you get to the Premiership team, 4 times in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing 6 games almost in a 2.5 week period, which is a lot, particularly after a full season. If you're a team who's just snuck into the playoffs in the Championship, obviously you'll have full tilt during the kind of regular campaign, and then having to kind of emotionally gear yourself up to kind of get into that. That's a lot. But, like I say, adrenaline... momentum would carry you through a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it is exciting. And as you get further and further in, it gets like, well, you might actually make it. And then, if you're a Falkirk fan, it inevitably kind of falls to pieces. Or Partick last season, which was just unbelievable. But flip side of that, you've got Livingston last gasp against Partick a couple of years ago. You've had obviously the infamous
Hamilton's the big
Hamilton
one.
Hibs, which was just still astounding.
Motherwell Rangers.
No comment.
They don't watch us anyway. I actually looked this week, and the quality of some Rangers and Celtic podcasts is actually really, really good.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
they're all in their own wee corners. I think they don't.
That's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Tuned in this week to the first Premiership one, and the Airdrieonians versus Partick Thistle game. So Championship or the Premiership Playoffs. Sorry, we've got Wraith Rovers to face the winners of this tie. And then we are awaiting to see what will likely be from the Premiership. Probably Ross County.
St Johnstone. No, I'm going for St Johnstone. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll hold you to that. So, a blue team is likely, whether it be navy or a slightly lighter shade. Had it on as background viewing. I was trying to play Game Boy Advance games on an old computer because they're setting up a wee arcade club at work, and it wouldn't work.
That's more interesting than looking at national insurance, but yep.
Yeah, well, that's what you were doing at the time. It was a great thing to have on in the background. Some fantastic goals and really well attended, really great game, great coverage. All round a fantastic thing to finally have decent telly of, essentially.
It was incredibly good viewing. I mean, it did, like I said, thankfully distract me from RO3, if you're familiar with it, personal taxation.
Businessman.
Yeah, it was actually really, really good. I mean, I still don't understand how Airdrie didn't win this game. I thought they had loads of chances to really kind of put Partick Thistle to bed for the first 15-20 minutes. But fair play to Partick, they held in. They've made it really interesting going into the second leg. We're really kind of going out on a limb. I'm still going to say Airdrie's winning this. Watching that game, I was just like, yeah, they just looked like they're more of a goal threat. And there was bits of Partick, like some of the goals that defending was just horrendous. Like that should give Airdrie a lot of hope going into that second leg. Should be a little bit less pressure as well, being away from home. All on Partick to do the job. So it'll be really good to watch.
Yeah, I think that the thing about Airdrie is they've had. A funny thing for this episode tonight is I've been tidying up things recently. I came across my old podcast notes, and I was so impressed with how much I used to type up and write. So this week I put in a lot of effort, bit of research, written notes. What do you not see on my desk just now?
Nothing.
Right. Do you know where they currently are?
I'm going to guess a classroom somewhere.
They're at work, yes. So I'm running from memory, but like Airdrie have been involved in playoffs in the last, I think, 3 or 4 seasons now. And they've been pretty successful in most of them. So they're a really established playoff team, which I think is a big threat. And it's something that in football, which is more of a league competition, it's not something you see so much. So yeah, they are pretty much almost a team that is built for playoffs like this, who definitely still earned their place. Like they were a solid, I think 7-8 points ahead of Morton behind them, and not too far shy of Partick Thistle. When I saw that first goal of Nikolai Todorov go in, I was dumbfounded as someone who previously saw him featuring for the Falkirk development squad, and this must have been when he was in his sort of earlier 20s, I think.
It must have been. I mean, he has been around the block. Like I'm sure he's played for Inverness.
Not very quickly. He looked abysmally slow when he was in his early 20s, but this season he's not scored too many goals, to be fair. But he's scored a few.
Yeah, he's chipped in. I mean, it was a header at the back post.
Yes. I had to watch that a few times because similar to my accusations of deflections, I was like, this looks a bit Maradona-y. From the main camera angle, you're like, there are hands at 45 degrees, and then opposite the other way, and I'm like, where's this But as you say, I think they're really good at just nicking these goals. They're going to score their chances. Now Partick Thistle took their first chance pretty well. Yeah. And I think this was the fantastic thing about this game is there was a lot of medium range shooting. And I do think often the big problem with Scottish football is they don't try and shoot enough.
Yeah, they don't take the shots. You get to the edge of the box. I don't know if it's a coaching thing.
Yes.
It's work it into the box. Like just take a ping. You've got the space. I mean, Macbeth. Is this a worldie I see?
Culture.
Is this a worldie I see before me?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. If only they still needed newspaper headline writers, John, but sadly not.
Never mind. took me ages to think of that one.
I know, I can see you glance at your notepad there.
So I can't make a mess of this.
Can I just say, listeners and viewers, I had all these in my notepad, but unfortunately I left my notes at home, so all the humour's gone as well. A belting goal.
No, a screamer. Really, really good. Great goal. That kind of lifted Partick. It was great to see the way fans actually celebrating a goal at Airdrie.
Good attendance.
Couldn't possibly imagine what that's like.
You just get to celebrate too, John, mind, you know.
After being 5-0 down.
Yeah, I know, it's five times.
We may as well address the point. It's fine now.
Yeah. I mean, the Partick Thistle fans turned out in
good numbers.
Solid amounts, yeah.
It's still a Tuesday night. Trying to get out of kind of Glasgow as well. That's not easy. Looked like a really good night as well. Like, weather-wise, I was like, it almost makes you feel like you want to go to these kind of games when it's like that. It's not freezing cold. You're not layering up. It
is very tempting.
If you're a fair weather fan, literally.
Yeah.
These kind of games are appealing. But yeah, I think quite good football as well.
Definitely.
Partick turn around, make it 2-1, and it takes quite late into the game really kind of get the equaliser for Airdrie. So interesting to kind of see what happens. I'm quite looking forward to it.
Yes. So you're leaning on Airdrie.
Still leaning on Airdrie.
I will lean towards Partick Thistle. But
why? Where's your notes, Paul?
Well, did you know, John, they had 2 players in the PFA Player of the Season.
Did they?
Yeah, so Brian Graham, obviously, he's had a 20-goal season, which is frankly astounding because I was looking at his stats actually before we came here, and he's just got better with age.
He has, yeah. He's like a fine wine.
There you go. Yeah. I've never heard that phrase, John. That's good. We should use that more often. 20 goals in the season, but he's 36. And also managing the women's team simultaneously. I remember there's a funny thing a few weeks ago and they were saying, yeah, he's banned, but he's not banned from the women's touchline thing. They're separate things. Because he was banned for yellow cards or something like that. And then I think McMillan was the other one, who's maybe a fullback, was also in Team of the Year as well. So they had 2 players in the PFA Team of the Year. Jack McMillan.
Fair enough.
And Airdrieonians only had 1. Do you know who was their 1?
Who would have been there? It wouldn't have been McCabe.
No.
I'm struggling to name any. It wouldn't be Charlie Telford either.
No, it wasn't Charlie Telford.
I have no idea.
Their captain, Adam Frizzell.
Alright, fair enough.
So, also had a very, very good season. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. All to play for. Airdrie have the playoff sort of chops and experience, but yes. Partick have been there before. They look like there's a lot of desire, I think, either way.
I don't know. Partick is like watching, again, I'm refer back to Falkirk now because it's all good for Invincibles. If you look back at it, so last season they got to like the last gasp getting promoted. Falkirk did that. And then the season after that, I think Falkirk got to around about this stage.
Yeah.
Fell short. Partick will do the same. Then next season they'll finish about 8th. And then season after that they'll get relegated.
Well, anything can happen. All to review next week. And it'll be interesting to see how they get on against Wraith, who are probably a little bit of a more unknown quantity as far as playoff games are concerned, but finished an absolute country mile ahead of both of them. They
did, but they have struggled so badly against Airdrie. And I think Partick as well, the record's not great. So that's a difficult one. Who do you fancy in the... If we just work it straight through, so we don't need to come back to it. If you work it through, so... I'm saying Airdrie.
I'm saying Partick.
Right. I would say Airdrie also beats Wraith, given prior form. I think they've got their number all season.
Ooh, okay.
And then, I kind of mentioned, I reckon they'll play St Johnstone.
Yeah.
I think that'll go to penalties.
This is very specific.
Oh, yeah. I might go down to the bookies and get a line on it.
Yeah.
I reckon I'll go to penalties because Craig Levine, a bit like Duncan Ferguson actually, just refuses to play attacking football. They've hardly scored any goals all season. I think St Johnstone scored like 25 goals an entire season. It's something horrendously bad. You know, they might he'll set them up to be quite defensive, but I could go the distance.
Okay.
Airdrie to win penalties.
So to go to the Premiership, you're saying we're going to have Airdrieonians next year?
Yes.
Right, okay. We'll see.
Why not? They're getting rid of Livingston, one diddy team, replace them with another.
That's the playoffs, kids. Anything can happen. Apart from the Toronto Maple Leafs winning. But anyway, gloss over that. It was a week of my life wasted. So we'll drop down now in terms of the Championship towards the league. No. Oh, I hate
Championship League One.
Yes.
Just do it like
we
that.
were talking about the Premiership Playoffs, which mainly involves Championship clubs.
Yeah, so you call it Premiership, Championship, League One, League Two.
Well, this is technically, because the results actually show up in the section of, by the way, hate the new BBC website, switch back to the way you used to do things.
Yep.
I've put myself up. Right, the Championship Playoffs, which again, different format. This week, I believe you've watched the Alloa highlights already of the Alloa Hamilton game.
Yes, yep.
Now, this was quite interesting because Hamilton, I think they've only lost like 6 games this season. So, whilst Falkirk have had the invincible record, Hamilton have had a pretty good season
They've
themselves.
I mean, I can now sit back and relax. They've had a pretty decent season.
Yeah.
They stumbled bits and bobs. I mean, a lot of their kind of draws probably let them down. The losses were key losses.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 key losses against Falkirk. That's basically 2 6-pointers that you've kind of dropped. So you can kind of point to big games like that they've not managed to kind of get over the line. This was another one. Really kind of watching it. I mean, particularly for Alloa's sort of second goal, I laughed like a drain. It was just
Is that the one that they all like ran into each other?
Yes.
And like knocked out in like cartoonish fashion.
The ball comes across the face of the box, maybe sort of 10 yards out, runs, trundles, doesn't even like, no pace in it, just trundles along. You watch all the Hamilton defenders fall over like skittles. You've got an Alloa player kind of dangling back trying to get the ball.
Yeah.
It eventually falls to, I can't remember if it is, written down somewhere, Wales I think it is.
Okay.
Takes the shot, it gets deflected, falls to someone else. He misses and blasts and hits the crossbar for a yard out.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy standing on the line just to nod it in, 2-1. And it's bedlam.
It generally was bedlam.
Which looked brilliant. Again, quite a decent crowd, I think, for that kind of fixture.
Beautiful night, good temperatures.
Beautiful night. It was just tremendously funny. I mean, if you haven't watched it, it's on, I'm sure it's on Hamilton TV or even Alloa's highlights on YouTube.
Yeah, that's probably
amazing. Like, just absolute banter. Typical playoff goal as well. Like,
yeah,
just that kind of thing. Frantic as anything.
That's the thing. It forces a different brand of football. It's probably a little bit more interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, and then you got Kevin O'Hara.
Well,
probably the smallest man in the park.
Lots of headers.
Yeah,
so many headers.
They won a header at the back post for maybe about 10 yards out. Goal, 2 each. It's like, one, how did you win that header and where was the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
See, the question I was going to have is, if you were to guess several years ago who would have been in the Premiership playoff and the Championship playoff, and the 2 players I'd give you would be Todorov and O'Hara, who would you put where? And you would never put Todorov in there and O'Hara in there. I saw as well, is it Stefan Skugel plays for Alloa these days as well?
He does, yep.
I was always a big fan of him at St Johnstone. A little bit of skill to his play, but obviously didn't pan out. So it was interesting to see that name. Yep. Great first goal of the sort of, well, it's not an overhead kick as such.
He just manages to, the ball kind of drops in and he does really well to kind of just hook his foot around it.
Aye.
Now, can you remember what Henderson it is?
Don't do this to me. Because I was watching the SPFL roundup on the YouTube channel, and there was one Henderson for Spartans that scored a penalty, and there's this Henderson. I think this one's Ewan.
Correct.
Okay, this one's Ewan Henderson. The other one was, it's not Liam Henderson.
No, that's the...
No, I told you this when you came through the door. It was like Ewan Henderson.
I'm going to let you figure this one out.
I'm going to have to Google it. Oh, there's too many Hendersons.
Begins with a B.
What? Blair Henderson. Got it. Right, there we go. It's like like in England they had like tailors for days at one point.
Aye.
So it was a nightmare. So lots of Hendersons in the Scottish lower leagues, it would seem. Other fixture ended up being 2-2 as well. It's weird. There's a lot of parallel results in these playoffs, because I think the League One ones were both 2-1.
They were both 2-1 home wins as well.
So
we'll kind of, I suppose we'll kind of get to that in just a moment. I mean, I just want to kind of look at that Alloa Aki's game as well. I mean, watching the highlights, there was at least 3 handball incidents, all for what should have been Alloa penalties. And the best thing about it's Alloa highlights, they're able to zoom in.
All right.
It's like watching like really rubbish sports scene for a couple of years ago when they're doing these kind of like really grainy pixelated
they're doing like a digital enhancement.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, it's a handball. And it's like, really?
You can't tell. Well, the same with the Todorov one, looked like it could have been a handball as well. That's a bit brutal to have 3 decisions, although, you know, it's a playoff.
All averages out over the season.
Yes, it does. Yeah. It does. So going into the second leg of that, which again happens on, I think, Saturday for those ones.
I think that one is Saturday, yep.
Predictions for that, given that this airs on Sunday morning?
Oh, good question. I I'm going for Alloa. Hamilton did not look good at the back. And I think
did look comical.
the other thing as well is Connor Salmon, as far as I can tell for the highlights, and I should have looked at the lineups, he never started. I don't know if he was on the bench.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, is he only able to play, say, once a week? Because he started against Falkirk and he got substituted, must have been around kind of 65, 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He scored the 2 goals, really good headers against Falkirk. And having now seen that Hamilton backline in these games, he would have a field day again if he gets the right kind of supply. So that's, if he's fit, if he's available for that game, for the away leg, that's a game changer. Like, that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out.
See how that goes. They still have to, because again, they only drew at home. So, but Hamilton's also another artificial surface, isn't it? So
artificial surface. If the result's not going their way at home, we've seen it this season in particular. Like, their fans just turn in an instant, and it's either directed at John Rankin, which they do not like. They're stuck with him, or to the board, who again they don't particularly like either. If that turns toxic, that feeds into the park, and it's such a big game. It could all very quickly collapse. So it's all geared up for Alloa to get a good result here, and it'll be fascinating. This is the game. Whoever wins that, will be promoted. I think both of them will beat Montrose or Inverness.
Well, I thought Montrose did a pretty good job to draw with Inverness. I think Inverness have been like all right towards the tail end of the season.
It's just draws and it's so miserable. I mean, so there was no highlights that I could find when I was doing a bit of research. So I jumped on Pine Bovril. Every comment is just negative.
About Inverness.
It's slow, it's pedestrian. Billy Mackay drops too deep to the point where there's no one up front for them to kind of pass into. I mean, even just looking at the stats, but Montrose had 7 corners, Inverness had 2. They had more shots on target, they had more shots off target. It's kind of like, how did you not score? Haven't seen highlights, I have no idea. Just
bit of a trek that for both teams as well. I couldn't draw you a map as to how to drive. I'd possibly go back to Perth, I think. Yeah,
you need to go down to Perth and then up the A9.
Yeah.
There's no point in going all the way up to Inverness.
No.
Because there's a big mountain range in the way as well, so you can't go point to point.
Aye. So. But again, they've had all this pressure at home by the looks in the statistics.
Yes.
And they haven't made that pay, which could hurt you in the second leg. But again, we could do with a wee multi-screen setup of these sort of various
these are
live
really
streams.
Good. I mean, I'm going to go on a tangent a little bit because you'll have noticed Sky Sports have now announced their Sky Sports Plus channel.
Oh.
So you now get literally, I think 1,000 EFL games are going to be shown.
Is this like a streaming service?
It's a kind of streaming service. So it's a channel. As far as I'm aware, when you go on the channel, you can then select what game you want to watch.
Yep.
So they'll have 6 games on a 12:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You can pick what one you want to watch. How good would that be right now for this?
So good.
Why isn't the SPFL having some kind of streaming ability for this? That would be brilliant. I would pay money for that.
I know that
not much, but I would pay money for it.
Well, I think maybe that's the problem. I did see Neil Doncaster was on like a podcast somewhere or something like that, talking about who the next rights holders were going to be.
Oh, this is BBC Sports sound.
Well, he sounds like an old man trying to name these things.
He sounded like the worst salesman ever.
I know, but he was like, Amazon probably aren't going to be interested. Google, probably aren't going to be interested.
Apple.
DAZN, and I know DAZN. Well, they do all the fighting and stuff, don't they?
It's the first time I've known how to pronounce that.
Oh yeah, it looks like DAZN, doesn't it? Yeah, again, that's annoying. It's poor branding, but
bit like Aberdeen. ABRDN.
But dropping vowels is like the cool thing to do, John.
Oh, I know.
It's the cool thing to do.
I'm gonna go. Do you want to go with a tangent just for?
Yeah, fire on.
There's a city.
Are we tangenting from the tangent?
Oh, big time.
Okay.
City AM is like a morning newspaper down in London.
Yeah.
Ran an article for Aberdeen, used to be Standard Life. Standard Life for Aberdeen's chief executive basically came out and said, I wish everyone would stop bullying us for our name change and brand change.
Oh, of course. Oh, I see what you're getting at now, yes.
It was like, basically the kind of headline was, we're sorry for taking the piss out of your name change, but they're taking out all the vowels in their headline. It was tremendously funny. Business fun. Business banter.
Aberdeen Asset Management changed their name to ABDN. To simplify
absolutely no reason.
Those who can't read, which you would hope in financial services is not the case.
No. You'd be surprised.
Yes, fully on board with a streaming service to watch all these things though, because it is really good entertainment. And again, maybe look at, if there is one's local, we should look at getting along to one in the next couple of weeks or something like that.
Yep. I have no idea what will be local.
Wraith is not a million miles away.
No. I'll be there next season.
Maybe not. And then Airdrie's not a million miles away either. So
No, that's true. No, that's doable.
I think if Airdrie get through, we go and see Airdrie against Wraith.
Potentially, yep.
Oh, well, that's me being palmed off. So yeah, we'll see also how the Montrose Inverness game goes. Good luck to Montrose, who of course we're big fans of after our season review
After last season,
last week. Thank you for everyone that tuned in to that, by the way. So
Big thumbs up.
yes,
Loads of thumbs up, actually.
lots of thumbs up. So yes, keep liking, keep subscribing if you enjoyed it. Does mean a lot to us. Even those hockey fans that troll me. But Bairn from Maine was, I think, the
XL. Yep.
yes, who actually got to go and see Boston Bruins. But nonetheless, excited to have you all along. So, on to the League One.
Stroke 2.
No, it's the League One playoffs. This time involving, I don't have my notes, so off the top of my head, we have Stirling Albion.
Yep.
And they were playing... I don't want to say Cove Rangers. I feel like Cove Rangers are doing something. They're not doing something.
They're not doing anything.
No, they're not in League Two. Cove Rangers... right, okay. Stirling Albion against Dumbarton.
Correct.
Yes!
Well, you got it around the wrong way, but yeah, Dumbarton at home.
Okay, Dumbarton against Stirling Albion. And then the other one was Peterhead, Spartans against Peterhead.
Yes.
Yes.
We are Witch Henderson's.
Wow.
I'm not doing that
So
to you
James
again.
Cragen plays for Spartans now as well.
They've got an interest, like Paul Watson as well, scored, actually.
Really? But that's weird, because remember years ago, we used to say that Edinburgh City were basically Falkirk 2 because they'd signed a lot of ex-Falkirk players.
Yep.
And now Spartans, who also play at Ainsley Park, the former home of Edinburgh City, have now, taken... Actually might be replacing Edinburgh City
I think they might be. Yeah.
in a number of ways, which is quite interesting to see. So yes, both of these fixtures were 2-1. Spartans beating Peterhead at home, which I think was a bit of an upset given the league.
A little bit, yeah.
Finishing in spots.
Peterhead had been pushing Steny quite far in the league. I mean, I know Stennismere had an absolutely storming season. So they kind of scraped through that.
Same goal difference on 19 as Stennismere, did you know?
A long journey back up to Peterhead though for the second leg. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Spartans only 2 points behind, and then Dumbarton only 1 point behind, and then they're all miles ahead of East Fife. So this really was a class of 4.
Yeah. Like too many leagues, basically.
This is probably the closest league of any of the ones we've looked at so far. So the home team's doing the business. The away team, Peterhead, in theory, with the advantage because they get to play the home fixture last.
Yep.
And then the same will be the case with Stirling Albion.
Well, that's a local one. We could go to that.
I went to one before. Do you know what? Funny enough, I went to Stirling Albion Peterhead years ago.
All right.
With fellow former host Darren. It was pretty good. I think it was a 0-0 draw. I don't think there was much going on that day, unfortunately. I do remember when I went to Stennismere against Annan in another playoff game, and Stennismere were knocked out, and it was the weirdest feeling because I to be stood at a playoff game that a team's relegated, and it just like, bang, you're relegated.
Oh yeah.
That's it. And it's the weirdest sensation, I mean, it happened with Falkirk, but that we were all well prepared for that in advance. We knew it was kind of coming.
Yes,
there wasn't really much to, but then to actually just be there as bang it hits you, it's so dramatic. It's so cold and like.
I know. I feel really guilty about being there for that. If it's not your team, but
I'm. Wait. Okay, yes, behind me on the wall.
There you go.
Big Stenny fan. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those go. Good old Blair Henderson as
There you
well.
go. Yep.
Always rooting for him. Did he make team of the season in League 2?
I'll let you take your word for it.
James Cragen did.
Oh, yes, they've got some. They've got is it Mark McNulty as well? Plays for them.
Does he?
Like they've had.
Was he the striker?
Yeah.
That played with Hibs?
Yeah.
Really?
That guy.
Sparky.
Who knew?
Who? I didn't know. I'll tell you that for a fact.
I'm kind of stalling. I haven't seen any highlights whatsoever at either two games. The only thing I have watched is Darren Young's interview for Stirling Albion after the game.
All right.
It's petulant, I think.
Yeah.
He did, to be fair to him, they'd say kind of they did not have a good game, didn't perform well, but it was penalty was really soft and we should have got one. All this kind of stuff.
See, they're interesting because they've kind of fallen. They've been as high as third in League 1. Technically second, but that was after like week 1. And I don't think you really count that. But they were pretty recently 6th, actually. And then so they're, again, it's actually quite hard for the teams in the league above, because most of them are on the down.
I mean, it's almost like a double whammy for Stirling as well. I mean, they find themselves in this position from the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Purely because of the result against Annan. You know, it could have been so different. They could have been on the holidays, but now they're having to kind of face this. So that must be the kind of mentality to kind of switch from one to the other. Must be quite tough.
Picking yourself up twofold.
Yeah, this is it. So it could be quite tense, I think, in that second leg.
It'd be a shame because Stirling Albion haven't been up there in quite a while. But again, teams like Peterhead, have been,
yo-yo team a little bit.
Like Spartans would be interesting to see. Haven't really seen much of them in my time. So it seems to be a club that's doing fantastic things with some good players. So yeah, we will see how it goes.
Absolutely. I can't make predictions because I have literally no idea.
Okay. Well, don't bother then, John, because we can't come back to it. And,
exactly.
So what we will talk about briefly is the controversy surrounding the League 2 playoffs, in which the Blue Prodigal protagonist, East Kilbride, looked to be playing Stranraer Football Club, who, if they don't win this, are likely to go out of business, unfortunately, which is a right shame.
Do you believe that, though?
I mean, Stranraer as a place must be struggling, because they don't even do the ferries from there anymore, do they? Most of that goes back up to Cairnryan now.
Yeah, it's only 5 or 6 miles up the road.
But it's not
catastrophic.
I know, but it's not.
I know what you mean.
It's not there.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And they are really out on a limb in terms of Scottish football. They are like, you're borderline better playing a team in Belfast, than try to make yourself get to Stranraer. And I did the article I read about it. Initially, I was like, so what? You need to earn your place. But, it must be tough for them to try and get players down there. The fan base is not big. There was a bloke that drove up. It was like from Middlesbrough or something like that every weekend. It was a really long journey from down south. A few clubs like that. I know East Stirlingshire are saying they're struggling as well.
Well, they've made some dodgy investments though.
Have they?
Yeah. I didn't read the full article because this is just absurd. I mean, it was like not quite soft loans, but they're just dishing out money for fun. And all of a sudden,
the chicken farm that Inverness was trying to do.
No, battery farm, chicken farm.
I thought it was Battery Chicken Farm.
No,
I didn't read the full article either.
All about that green transition.
Chickens aren't green.
Did you ever read why they didn't get that battery farm?
The planning permission was denied, but I don't know why.
Like why? No. So there must be like a wee kind of slope near it.
Right.
And it was denied because they didn't want to deny children of Inverness the chance to go sledging.
Good for them. Good for them.
We'll destroy the football club, and then the off chance we get a little bit of snow.
You still go sledging. Sledging or Inverness Caledonian Thistle. There's probably more Rangers and Celtic fans in Inverness anyway, let's face it.
He must have been a Clacknacuddin fan.
Hey, so League 2 playoff, East Kilbride probably facing Stranraer.
Definitely playing Stranraer.
Well, Bucky Thistle might do something at the 11th hour. Bucky Thistle have been denied the opportunity as they currently do not meet they currently don't meet the bronze SPFL standard.
Yes.
Which the clubs, in fairness, were given plenty of prior warning. Apparently numerous letters have been sent to Bucky Thistle about these requirements. We discussed them earlier. If you read the documents, funny enough, you mentioned the pitch last week being like on a hill and on like a
Bonnyrig.
Yes.
Oh yeah, big time.
There are rules about that. They can only be like a certain gradient and then height and difference. So I think again Bonnyrig was maybe on the list of these because there was 5 SPFL teams that didn't meet this bronze standard.
I am sure they could apply for like an exemption, and I think that's why certainly Bonnyrig, maybe Edinburgh. There's one or two others as well on that list I was quite surprised at.
Airdrie were on.
Were they?
Yeah, Airdrieonians were.
Was this the licence?
It could have been.
license.
Yeah, I think the UEFA licence. But then Rhys McCabe's been a manager for a while.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have done. There must be like a 2-week course or something like that, if that.
I found that kind of strange. It's funny. The cynic in me suggests that Bucky probably didn't want to get promoted. That's one avenue. Now, from a sporting integrity point of view, I don't want to believe that, but maybe that's came into the mindset.
Have they not nearly done it a few times? Like, there's been some really tense. There's been like fisticuffs at some of these games, essentially.
There was one years and years ago. Was it Brora? And they just refused to take part. I might be talking nonsense. I might be absolutely waffling rubbish, but I'm sure at some stage one of them basically turned and says, no, we're not interested, we're quite happy where we are.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But it should fall to second place. So if Bucky can't make it, there should have been an immediate. Like, they must have known this was coming.
Yeah.
Must have. And should have been reaching out to Brecon and saying, look, just in case, be prepared to play these fixtures. That's how it should work.
I mean, they
invested for it. I mean, fair enough, they came up short.
I mean, they didn't come up that much short, were they?
But
not?
yeah, I mean, they're talking like a point or something like that. Was it goal difference?
Was it goal difference?
Yeah,
I think it was in
difference.
the end.
They should have been, like, fair enough. They don't win the league, that's fine.
Yep.
But they're the next best team. They should be competing.
Yeah.
In this playoff. As for East Kilbride, financial doping at such a low level.
Well, they've tried this a few times now.
They're flinging money at it. You know, it's a bit annoying. Having kind of seen pictures of K Park Training Academy as the stadium is known, looks awful. I don't understand how that even meets criteria.
Well, I mean, this seems to have been brought in on the back of the rejection of the Conference League, which would have fitted in between League 2 and the Highland and Lowland League. The wording is interesting. They said to provide ventilation between the two structures. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What are you trying to insinuate? Like,
and again, this would have been to put B teams in to, have. They were specifically looking for an area for development for 17 to sort of 21-year-olds.
It's called Development League or Reserves League.
Reserve League, but even League 2, a lot of Edinburgh City this season have actually done okay with basically a bunch of youngsters.
If you look at Edinburgh City as a weird example, they're crying out, or they had been crying out for players at certain stages in the season when they basically had to let go a lot of the senior guys. There was a prime opportunity for Hibs and Hearts development projects to kind of go into these kind of teams and see how they fare in men's football, because Edinburgh had nothing to lose. In fact, they were probably desperate for talent.
Definitely. Hearts B as well, I think, finished second in that Lowland League.
I think they were third. So if East Kilbride hadn't, I mean, I'm only saying they're financial doping because I really wanted to see Bo'ness, because they finished.
They had a really good season.
They were the next best team. I would have loved to have seen Bo'ness in the playoffs, because
are you telling me that they meet the criteria?
Absolutely
okay,
not.
I was about to say.
Absolutely not. I mean, they do have a really good plastic pitch, actually.
Okay.
It's really good. They would have needed to go some guy in who's good with like concrete and cement, because the whole stadium was 40 pieces basically.
Right, okay.
That would have been tremendous if they had found a way to kind of get their way around the rules.
Aye.
You could have had Bonus United in League 2. How amazing would that be for us?
Very good. My slight concern with these things as well is that every team that seems to go out of the league seems to be, we've lost our sort of Brecons and things like that, and you replace them with a Spartans, and let's say you lose a Stranraer and you replace them with Bo'ness. Like, soon enough, it's just going to be a Central Scotland.
Yes, it is a Central Scotland league. Yeah,
which would be a bit of a shame. That's what I like about Stranraer as well, is they give a bit. Speaking of these bronze rules as well, Edinburgh City also fall short. I don't know in what sense, but financially it's obviously anything you do to meet these standards is going to cost money. Apparently there'll be a vote on it to see whether they do anything about it. Where would your hand go up if you were the voting representative for Falkirk Football Club, for example?
Or what? Let them carry on?
Send them down or keep them.
Oof. That's a very good question.
This gets sent out to all fans of Edinburgh City
if
it goes badly. I mean, they're practically Spartans, John. Let's face it.
Yeah, that's the point. If they can't meet their obligation for the league, by default, probably shouldn't be there. I think even they would begin to admit they're probably on their way down.
Yeah,
I mean, they've had a catastrophic season. Meadowbank is not fit for anything. I mean, football is not fit for anything.
But they use it for the Hibs women's team as well, don't they?
Hibs women play there.
Why?
Edinburgh Caledonia play there.
Why?
I mean, it's
a team called Caledonia. How annoying!
Oh,
I hate that.
Dusty does listen to this, but anyway, we'll
is that the team she plays for?
Yeah,
tell them to rename the team then.
I mean, at that point I said, so it's a decent playing surface, no doubt about it. Yep. But from a
supporters
point of view, it's just not good enough. Really, really not good enough. So that's a negative for sure. Should Edinburgh City exist as a footballing entity? Absolutely, I have no problem with that. But there has to be a relatively natural level for them, and it's not in the professional leagues.
No.
If that's back down into the Lowland League or even potentially below that, so be it. If it's an amalgamation with Spartans, maybe the Stranraer as well.
Edinburgh Stranraer Football Club, yeah. Ground share.
Yeah, you could fly to Belfast and get the ferry over.
Potentially.
I suppose that would make sense. Edinburgh's a big place, but it is dominated by Hibs and Hearts.
Hmm.
So to try and get a third force in that city is
Well,
a challenge.
See, this is what I was thinking earlier with the Partick Thistle fan support in terms of Glasgow. Two massive teams in Rangers and Celtic. They still do okay.
They still do quite well,
So good for them.
and there is a handful of Queen's Park fans and stuff like that. Pollock, you know, if we could go down the list, Pollock some really good supports.
Mm-hmm.
But for the point of Spartans or in Edinburgh,
Mm.
yeah, if you're going to amalgamate. If Edinburgh are going to continue, they should probably drop out the professional leagues
Mhm.
gracefully and find your position and work your way back up if that's where you want to do, you know, and do it organically. Don't financially dope yourself, which is what they've done.
Should never have changed the name.
Well, they had to because some pub or social club was named it. What a joke.
It's a shame they had to move, but I think they did have to move, unfortunately. 'Cause I think they weren't allowed to use Ainsley Park again or something like that. But then they should never. There was the whole season ticket shenanigans and stuff. There's just a lot of bad things.
It's just a bit of a shambles, and I feel sorry for the actual
Supporter.
supporters of them.
Well.
A small hardy bunch, but
Yeah.
you know,
Very small.
you do have to feel a lot of sympathy for them. If you don't know,
Yeah, you never want to see your club disappear.
you don't want to see them. That's why I don't want to see them disappear. I want to see them exist, but exist in the right place. And I don't think that's in the 42 at the moment.
Yeah.
Get back up in sport merit, absolutely. You're more than welcome. But
Well, we will see what happens with them after the summer. So John flicks over. There's nothing left in the notepad, which means
we're done.
no.
Cheerio.
We can start our feature, which is Euro or you know.
Oh, okay.
Right now, what I have here, Jonathan, is. Do you see what I have?
Oh, stickers.
Yes.
Oh no.
I've got Euro 2024 stickers now.
How much did that cost you?
I'll tell you later. The prices aren't that bad. I feel like they've not gone up too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this packet. You're not going to see who or what's in it. Now, this could go badly in that I hope there's someone recognisable in here.
Right.
And you have 28 yes or no questions to guess the player I have in hand. Okay?
Right, how many questions?
20.
20?
20 yes or no questions.
We could be here a while.
Right? No, we'll quick fire. Maybe reduce it for future weeks. Now, I will show the video podcast who I have. Oh no, I don't recognise the first name at all. Oh dear.
I feel like this is going to turn into some kind of Phoenix Night.
Well, the problem is if I don't recognise anybody.
I'm getting the word.
Yes. Right, okay. We're sorted. We are sorted. Yes, we are sorted.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, video listeners. Video listeners. Yes, audio viewers and video listeners. On screen just now is the card I have in my hand. Okay? Right. 20 questions. Guess who this player is. There's your clue. It's not like a stadium or something.
Right, so as a player, does he play in the UK?
Yes.
Does he play in England?
Yes.
Does he play in the Premiership?
No.
Ooh.
I'm just Googling to make sure that.
I feel like this is really difficult already. So
you making
I'm
notes?
going to have to write down, right? So
He's making notes. So it is a footballer that plays in the UK but not in the Premiership.
right, so he does play in England though.
Yes, does play in England,
Right.
sorry.
That's question 3. Right, so question 4. Molly, is he going to get promoted this year?
Oh, what are you doing to me?
Playoff pending.
Right, hold on. Let me quickly type into the BBC website and it'll be fine because I type in Championship. No, not getting promoted.
Damn it. It's not Kenny McLean. Oh, well, maybe Kenny McLean. Oh my God. You made this far too difficult. The English Championship team.
I didn't say Championship, but I pretty much leaked that.
Yeah,
Ruined the game.
I don't think there's many kind of English League One, so English Championship. Who the hell's going to the Euros? Is he Scottish?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
That saved you massively, doesn't it?
Oh my God, because this album's a bit weird as well, because they're not like, some of the players are not
Going.
properly yet.
Alright.
Oh my God, right. Is it Leon Palmer?
No.
Oh.
You don't just dive straight for it.
Why not?
What the heck are you doing? Oh. I've not kept count of questions at all.
I'm on 6, I think.
6, okay.
Right. Oh my God, other Scottish Championship players who aren't getting promoted. Kenny McLean.
No, 7.
Is it Grant Hanley?
No, 8. Do you want to maybe narrow down, like, position or...
Is he a striker?
No. 9.
Is he a goalkeeper?
No. 10.
He's either a midfielder or a defender. Funny that. Is he a midfielder?
No.
So he's a defender, right?
11.
Oh. Is he a fullback?
According to his Wikipedia profile, no. Predominantly no. So that's 12.
Oh my god. That is...
You're going to kick yourself.
I am. Has he been in Scotland squads before?
Yes.
That makes it worse. Dear God, who would be that? Right, it's not Hanley, it's not Cooper. Who else has he been in the squads? Oh, this is murder. Is it Porteous?
Yes, 13.
Oh.
Ryan Porteous, ladies and gentlemen. So, John, I now reward you with your pack of Euro stickers.
Oh, am I getting off of them, are
Yes, you get all... No, I'm not going to make you guess all 20. Do you want to name the other players in there?
Swindled Babbage, never heard of him.
I would never have got that.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
Show the viewers the shiny one.
Junior... Who? Right.
See the Austrian one? There's Porteous.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Is that the Austrian guy?
That's
Never heard of the Austrian guy.
Junior Adamu.
You got a shiny one. Well, that's cool.
Ryan Porteous. They don't look as good as the Euro 2020s.
Oh, do they not?
Nah.
Oh dear. You not had any yet?
Nah, I'm not doing it this year, right? Well, that's what I'm saying.
Waste of my time.
What was I going to say? There's a bit of hoo-ha because I seen somebody leak the full kind of completed England page.
Right.
So the Euro 2020 album, like the national badges or logos were the actual...
No, they got the purple one.
No, it's just your flag. So it says St George's Cross.
So it's not the...
And it'll be the saltire rather than your
the
association
lions
badge.
Or the
like,
Lion Rampant.
That looks a bit rubbish. And apparently they don't have the imaging rights for a lot of this stuff anymore because it's Topps, not Panini, which I think's different potentially.
It is a different company.
So, like Harry Kane, I don't think's in it. One of the goalkeepers for England. I'm only using England as an example. It's the only one I've actually seen. One of the goalkeepers never played for England before. He'd never been in the squad, so that's a bit strange. And I think there's a lot of kind of discrepancies and issues throughout the album, so it's a bit disappointing.
Oh well, such are modern.
I'll just need to
marketing and sporting rights.
Drink myself silly with German beer to make myself feel better when I'm there, like
And you can trade them with
there.
other people, exactly for beer. Maybe not. Well, maybe a few packs. Which brings us nicely into our last topic of trading cards.
Yes.
Now, John's already given us... Now, funny enough, I was a bit confused because I think Topps are an American company. And I was like, what is an American company doing? But they actually bought, I think, a company called Merlin or something like that here.
They're British based, yep.
So that's why we get Topps stuff in the UK, even though it's not,
good.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I think Topps, because the big rights that Topps had in terms of trading cards were the baseball cards.
Oh, right.
Then Fanatics, my least favourite company on planet Earth.
Better or worse than JD?
Yes. Yeah, worse than
Worse.
JD. Yes, worse than JD. I'm just going to cover that on my Florida jersey just there. They bought the baseball rights, but they didn't have anyone to make trading cards, so they bought Topps as well.
Oh.
They're basically going for a...
Monopoly.
Monopoly, that's the word I was looking for. Total control of the market, not good. So... Anyway, I thought I would talk a bit about trading cards because I didn't know. I mean, you told us that you completed actually Euro 2020.
Yes. Yep.
Sticker book, and I was like, man, I hadn't thought about those in ages, and it is something of a nostalgic pastime. I'll tell you a wee anecdote actually. I remember these were a big deal in like primary school, so this would have been 2003. 2004, 2002, somewhere around there. And I purely bought them to trade with people. I wasn't really a big football fan at the time, but everyone was doing it, so you were just in the playground trading. Yep. Now, I had some manipulative friends on a walk home from school once.
Shocking.
I know, it might be
name them?
Well, it might be one of your good friends' big brother, let's put it that way. And it's funny that what you remember. I still distinctly remember this day as a life lesson. I had a shiny Premiership trophy. Scottish Premier League. Bank of Scotland Scottish Premier League trophy. Fantastic looking card, still remember it to this day. And my evil friends convinced me that a shiny Partick Thistle logo was rarer and more valuable than the Scottish Premiership trophy, the shiny one. And I was hoodwinked by all this, and they traded, and I was so excited to have this shiny Partick Thistle card. It was apparently so much rarer than the Scottish Premiership trophy. Alas, they felt guilty and returned the Premiership trophy to my gullible self.
Oh, well, there we go.
And all was well, and we went on our way. But I think, that was a funny story to tell. So, what are your memories before you picked up the hobby again in Euro 2020 and then swiftly dropped it for 2024?
Much about the same. I mean, I remember, so at that point, I started going to the football with my dad.
Yeah.
And so every Saturday, we give me like a £5 note. They were like, go down to the half time, go and get yourself. I used to get a wee bottle of cola or carton of cola. And a packet of polos or whatever I wanted, and I would get around about.
I had a packet of polos.
Yeah,
in
I don't know why I
ages.
had polos when I was like, what would have been?
They still sell them.
9 or 10 year old. But that would give me about £3 worth of change from the fiver. On a Monday morning, I would get off the bus at the school, primary school. There was a wee shop, literally just across the road.
There's always a news agent.
You go in there, it was 30 pence a packet. So on a Monday, I would be able to buy 10 packets. For like £3. Amazing.
Long gone are those days.
For one, it was the irrational fear of like running off the bus and then jumping into the shop because you weren't supposed to do that as like a 9-year-old kid. And then getting into the playground, opening them and seeing what you had. Absolute delirium. It was like bringing the album in with you to school and like trying to get them all like sort of put in either on your break or on your lunch.
Yeah.
Coming home, constantly flicking through it. I've got screeds of paper with all the numbers I was still looking for, all marked off down and stuff like that. Brilliant. I think I must have done it. Only done it for 2 or 3 years. I think 02, 03, I think was the first one.
Right.
Sure, Rangers won the treble that season. 03 or 04, I definitely done it. 4 or 5, probably done it. And then I think I did it for the first year Falkirk were in the SPL. But I never completed it. At that point, it was becoming uncool to have stickers. And coming out of high school, and he was like, you get battered if you did that. It's funny how you go through life like that.
Yes.
Threatened for battered if you got stickers. But that was it. I mean, it was just, you couldn't wait.
Yeah.
There's the only good thing about being in school on a Monday was like getting to the shop and getting your sticker packets. It was class.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
So fun enough, I was asking some people today, and they were saying similar things. I was like, do you guys still collect stickers and stuff like that? And they were like, nah, not really anymore. And these would be like high school kids essentially, but they did do it in primary school.
Yeah.
So it's still a pastime, which is quite unusual. I'm going through an inherited collection of stamps at the moment.
Oh, so am I.
Are you?
Weirdly enough, so we're going
tangent.
Well, it's football related.
Yeah.
So. My gran passed away a couple of weeks ago. We've got my grandpa's stamp albums, and he's got stamps in there for the 1966 World Cup.
Oh, wow.
Which look fantastic. And then there's also stamps in there now. I don't think they were released at the time. In fact, they couldn't have been.
Yeah.
But they're stamps that commemorate like the 1930 World Cup.
All right.
And it's a picture of Jules Rimet with a trophy as a stamp. Which would have been, that was in Uruguay. 34. Who was 34? Was that in Germany?
I cannot help you there.
I think it might have been, it was either still in South America or Germany, and then one's in Rome. Rome might be 1934. But there's like the 3 stamps for that. Unbelievable. Can't believe they're there. Like, what a piece of heritage. They're probably worth nothing, but a brilliant weekend I think you kind of stumble across. Like
Italy, Czechoslovakia, Rome. Yeah.
Rome 34.
Yes.
And then Germany 38.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought you were going through it. Right,
I'd have to Google that. 1938 World Cup final. Blah, 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 blah.
Or do they go back to South America? I don't know.
Paris.
Paris,
apparently. Italy beat Hungary 4-2. Anyway,
sorry.
it's a pastime like that I didn't expect to live on, but still kind of does.
Still there.
And there's still a big culture in terms of like adults have like forums that they kind of trade stuff on. I did look up an eBay listing that I need to show you.
Is it Mbappe's sticker for Euro 2020?
No, it's not.
I'll tell you about that actually.
That's look at the players that are in the image, so you can see. So the first one is
Colin Samuel.
Colin Samuel.
Yeah, who's his name? Derek McInnes.
Derek
We played for
McInnes.
So this was about the time this was the height of all. So that would have been 0304.
See, these are the designs that I remember.
Colin Sammy would have been there. That's a shiny Dundee United badge in there. EuKnow manager. Derek McInnes still playing.
I think there's Barry Robson as well.
Yeah, Barry Robson. Celebration must.
Feel free to get back on mic, by the way, John.
All right. So, I remember them as well. Sorry, I'm really going off tangent. You're just going to have to bear with us.
Yes.
When they did the full team photos, but they done like half and half, and there was the large sticker.
You put them together.
Yeah, but there were large stickers versus the smaller sticker.
All right.
You don't remember that?
No. So what, in the same pack?
So you would have your sticker about that size. That was like the normal size for the faces. But then you would get like a slightly bigger sticker for like the team photos and for something else as well. Because when you rip the pack open, you have to make sure not to rip
too aggressively and take the...
Which was also a nightmare if you were like if you had loads of stickers, you had to get like elastic bands, which was somehow a premium in primary school. But they would damage the big stickers. So I remember trying to get like the Dunfermline sort of team photo. I was missing like say the left hand side, and like somebody would have it, but it was all like tatty and
you wouldn't want that.
Buttered and says, I'm not wanting that. I don't want that anyway. But you know,
yeah.
That's.
I think though that
funny looking back at it. Like,
see when you mention that though, like. The whole art of trading was actually quite a skill in terms of you were taught a level of negotiation.
I mean, the guy who done you out of the trophy, he should be on The Apprentice. Like, he should just, he absolutely
he's
salesman.
probably selling used cars or something like that. That sort of, but he's
like the Scottish Tom Skinner. Like
the Scottish Tom Skinner.
He's kicking a bit going, oh gosh! Like everybody goes like, brilliant. That's where it all started.
Again, where would young people learn that same skill?
Yeah, nowhere.
No, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. It's kind of moved on now beyond this, and I'm still glad to hear that people do this. But you know, like FIFA, like Ultimate Team cards and stuff like that, and you can't wheel and deal them in the same way that you can those, and they're not as personal. Like no one's playing with Scottish Premiership players or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to look back in that in 20 years and kind of reminisce about it all.
No,
I'm going to have to find them when I go home now. This is
it's the two.
I know where they are as well.
When I showed you, when I saw that picture that I showed you again, I'll try and stick that on the. Just try and stick that on the videos. More editing, but we'll deal with it. For people to see as well, but no, absolute throwback. I did start picking up hockey cards and stuff again recently, which is quite fun. It's interesting though because they're cards and not stickers, which I kind of prefer because they're sort of better quality. They're bigger. You can kind of stick them up. And I never did what you did. I never tried to complete the album or anything like that. I was just happy trading them,
wheeling and
dealing. Exactly. Just wanted to be a part of it. Pokemon cards were kind of the same sort of deal as well for a while.
Got a drawer full of them. Never did Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
No, I think I did a bit of Digimoning as well. That came later.
Did that.
Remember Beyblades? That was a big thing too.
Yeah,
spinning tops.
Really going down the rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
I've never done trading cards like baseball trading cards or anything like that. It's never crossed my mind.
It's not as big here, I suppose, is it?
A guy I work with, where I am just now, unnamed.
Business.
But he's really into it, and you know, he trades, and he's
money to be
made.
I think
there's quite a good community to it. You know, there's a lot of interest globally, particularly for things like basketball cards, baseball cards. Like the American market is ginormous, and you can get them. Am I right in saying you can get them like sent away and they get graded?
You get graded, yeah.
Like,
but then, what the cool thing about that is that they're obsessed with like rookie cards and stuff, aren't they?
Well, is that not the bet? You have to try and figure out who's going to come good in 30, 40 years' time.
But then that's quite cool that, you know, you might have had like one of those, like for example, that Austrian bloke might have a total breakout
season. And
then that would then be worth like £100 because people didn't know. It gets you, maybe gets you more invested in the competition as a result.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I mean, I imagine this is the kind of thing you get started on. Maybe it's like fantasy football or fantasy whatever.
Aye.
That'll get you started, and then it's like, right, you start looking at the trading cards, and then you start buying the subscriptions, and then it just builds up from there. Before you know it, you're flying out to watch a game. Like, you know,
passion starts.
I haven't gone down that far yet. I'm still on the kind of pin badge, scarf level.
Badge, stroke footballogy. Yeah. We need to talk about that one day as well.
Right, that's a summer one. That we can look at my stats.
John's Instagram page is full of that. It's actually exclusively what it is now, isn't it?
Near enough. In fact, I've not posted for a while. That's
there's stuff I'm a few behind.
I'm a good few behind. I'm going to be 4 or 5 games behind. But
well, they're about to take a strong level up when we see what happens in Germany. Anyway, it's probably time to trade our way to the end of the podcast, shall we say?
It is, yes, unfortunately. So.
It was good to reminisce. John, next week we'll probably do some more playoff reviews. Maybe do some league reviews as well now that everything's kind of tied up.
We're getting there. I should be able to muddle our way through.
And I'm sure we'll come up with some more nostalgic topics. And tune in for another episode of EuKnow or EuKnow.
God.
Good. Thanks, John. I like the.
We're getting there, yeah.
Getting the hang of things. We're getting into the spirit. I was thinking about this the other day, and I feel like this is the sort of Radio 2 of Scottish football podcasts. Like, it's sort of light. You know, it's not like serious, like 5 Live sporting chat.
No, it's like Talk Sport at 3 a.m.
Kind of, yeah. And we're not as youthful and
Dreadful.
hip as folk on Radio 1 are, so it just fits that nice balance. Anyway, thank you for listening from myself, Paul.
And this is Ken Bruce signing off.
Ken Bruce.
Ken Bruce signing off.
That's not a good Ken Bruce.
I don't know what Ken Bruce sounds like. I don't listen to Radio 2.
But master. Right. Anyway, have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning. Bye-bye.